our first session ever. The presentation will be done by Hassan, my co-president. Before we start, I think we should use this opportunity for everyone in the executive team to just introduce themselves again, if you guys haven't met them from Friday's session. So my name is Suleiman, and I'm one of the co-presidents at the society.
I guess I'll go next. So my name's Hassan. I haven't really met anyone yet, but I'm one of the co-presidents of the society as well.
Yeah, I'm Laban. I'm also secretary of the society.
I'm Samater. I'm the treasurer of the society.
Okay. So I don't think Jesse is here, but we also have Jesse, who's our social media manager, and Alicia, who's joining us. She's also one of our events
Hi guys.
executives. Yeah. Okay, so I'll hand it over to Hassan, who's gonna take charge of our first fundamental session today, and I'll let him do his presentation.
All right, guys. Welcome to our first crypto fundamental session. Before I start, I hope you're all settling into university just fine and enjoying yourselves. My name is Hassan. Like I said, I'm one of the co-presidents of the society, and I'm joined today by Suleiman, who is our other co-president. If you guys have any questions or you'd like to add anything to the session, please don't hesitate to just say what you'd like to say. Speak up, let us know. Essentially, this lesson here will cover very basic fundamentals. So there will be people in here that are way more experienced than what this current session will entail. But I would like anyone who does to, rather than, leave, actually add information to this session and just not to hesitate to speak up or anything. It'd be really nice to hear what you guys already know, since everyone, including myself, would love to learn during the session as well. So, like I said, very basic fundamentals will be covered in this session. So I'll just head over to what will be explained today. So essentially what will be explained today is basic fundamentals of crypto and blockchain, touch on a bit of the technical side of blockchain technology, and also talking about, what is a wallet, what is a crypto exchange, and how would you go around using these pieces of technology. So I'd like to talk about some buzzwords you might have heard regarding crypto. So words such as Bitcoin, blockchain, pump and dump, for example, all these words. What do they actually mean? You see them trending everywhere. You hear people talking about it, but what does it all actually mean? Well, that'll hopefully all be covered during these sessions over the next few weeks. So we'll start with the question, what is a cryptocurrency? Well, before we can actually start with that question, why not we work with what we already know? What does normal money do? How does that work? Well, in terms of normal money, this is something that you can physically touch. You can put inside your wallet. It's something that you can see, unlike cryptocurrencies. It's something that is run by the government. So within the UK, that would be, for example, the Bank of England. These are the people that mint notes and coins and such. They do this for several reasons. Mostly it's to control the inflation rates, but they're able to make new money at any time. So this basically means that physical money is infinite. It's very easy to track transactions when it comes to real money, and very easy to counterfeit. So if done correctly, physical money can quite easily be counterfeited. It's quite easy to, let's say, go to a market where security is not its highest priority and slip in a few £5 or £10 notes, for example. So now we've talked about physical money. What is digital money? What is cryptocurrency? And throughout this session today, we'll be talking a lot about Bitcoin. We've all heard about it. This is the most well-known cryptocurrency out there. And I feel like it'll make a very good example for today. So what are the key features of most cryptocurrencies out there? Well, there are a few, the main ones being that they are not being controlled by a bank or central institution. So in terms of like Bitcoin, there is no central authority. It doesn't have its own bank. There is no bank you can go to. It also uses decentralization. So basically, we will touch on decentralization. So if that means nothing to you, don't worry. But basically, Bitcoin uses decentralized systems to record transactions. And it uses cryptography to prevent the counterfeiting problem that real money uses. So once again, this will all be touched on throughout the session. Is there anything anyone would like to say before I carry on? Or should I just carry on?
Wait, Hassan, can you be a bit careful with your mic? Because I think it's making some feedback.
Sorry?
Your mic is making a little bit of feedback, so just be careful.
What do you mean?
Oh, you're good now. You're good.
Oh, is that better? I know it's... Okay, so what do I mean by decentralization? Like I said before, well, let's just go back to our example of real money. That real money is known as centralized. Why? Well, it's basically usually controlled by banks or a central authority. Banks have control of your money. Not only that, they also have control to the data that you give them. So name, address, age, all these things the bank has access to. Okay, and because they have all this information, you need to have a sense of trust with the bank. Okay, if that trust somehow fails, then you have a really big problem. Let's say there was a bank and there was a massive scandal that went on. Everyone would run to that bank and instantly try and take out all their money. This is known as a bank run. And as you can tell, this could lead to disaster, because essentially banks, not only do they protect your money, they also lend out loans. And if everyone is taking out their money, there's no money to give out as loans, and it's just essentially one very big mess. So what does decentralized mean? Well, in terms of a decentralized system, there is no central authority. Okay, so rather than there being a central bank, okay, there is a system that is actually maintained by people all over the world. This is a global network of people. And rather than the bank controlling the flow of money, it's many people that control the flow of money. And essentially this gives power to the people rather than power to the banks, okay, because you are now in control of your money. And I would say there's less attack vectors, because rather than having this one institution holding your money, all this large amount of money, okay, this gives hackers the opportunity to hack into this one institution and essentially take everything. So this allows the system to be a lot more robust. So before we carry on with anything, I'd like to talk about the story of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin started around 2009. It was a software that was publicly made under the pseudonym Satoshi. Not much is known about Bitcoin during this time, but it started to gain some sort of traction around like 2012. The first ever real crash of Bitcoin actually happened in 2011, where the price of Bitcoin was £21 per Bitcoin, but the crash caused it to dip all the way to £1.45, and this was a 93% crash. And this was a very big crash. It was 93%, And a crash like this hasn't happened since 93%. And the reason why Bitcoin crashed so heavily is because one of the biggest crypto exchanges at the time was hacked. So hackers were able to hack into that exchange and essentially fake a crash. So everyone who was using the application one day woke up and saw that Bitcoin was 1 cent. Now, obviously, this isn't what happened, but this is what caused everyone to start panic selling. And in turn, this actually caused a real crash. And that's what caused the crash to £1.45. However, a more noticeable crash, which more people knew about, was 2013, where Bitcoin reached its high of $260, I believe. This was, I won't say a recent one, but once again, more well-known one. And now we're here. Bitcoin is, I think, settling at around 46K. I think it dipped down to 45. I'm not quite sure. But you can just see how much Bitcoin has essentially risen throughout time. So one thing that's always trending and everyone's talking about is the price of Bitcoin. Now, why is Bitcoin so expensive? Well, there's one word to basically answer that, and that's scarcity. There will always be a limited amount of Bitcoin, and there will be a point in which no Bitcoin will be produced. Now, because of this is what causes this fear of missing out. People want to grab hold of as much Bitcoin as they can until it runs out. Okay. And this kind of follows a similar trend where all used to gold. So why did people used to stock up on so much gold? It's because it had a price associated with it, but there was only a certain amount available at any time, which is why a price was able to be associated with it. I'm just going to read through some of the charts very quickly. So what is an attack vector? An attack vector is basically a point in which a system or anything can be attacked. Okay, an attack vector could be anything. It could be, for example, a backdoor. Let's say I was to have a company and I was to deliberately create a backdoor where anyone can access, for example, really important files. That would be an attack vector, for example. This is the reason banks hate crypto. I agree 100% with that. Yeah, banks hate crypto because, it's no longer power to them. It's power to the people, power to us. I really do agree with that. Oh, Laban also answered that. Cheers, Laban. I appreciate that a lot, man. What about banks that give you options to buy and sell crypto? How does security work in that account? Are those cryptos still owned by the people? Thanks. Basically, like how that would work is, what banks are doing now is they're actually, buying and selling crypto. Basically, banks have created their own wallets. And I would say, as long as you know, and I'm going to touch on this, as long as you know the private and public key to that crypto wallet, you should be good. PayPal, they did recently add crypto. So like I said, like banks have kind of caught on to the fact that people are actually using crypto and basically using that technology for themselves. What they do is they usually add transaction fees. So they have their way of profiting off it, basically. But banks are slowly catching on to the fact that everyone is actually preferring crypto now. So I'll just carry on. What do I mean when I say digital gold? So like I said, there'll always be a limited supply of crypto. Maximum of 21 million ever, okay? It will never go above that. The software just won't allow it. Why it picked this special number, once again, only Satoshi will know, at the moment anyway, whoever this person or group of people actually is. And demand will always be larger than the supply, so price will increase to counter this. And personally, I don't know, some people might disagree with me. I'd say this is one of the main purposes of Bitcoin. It is the gold of the internet. There are many other alternative coins out there that are way more efficient than Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, you have to remember Bitcoin was actually one of the first one. So it will always be special. And this is why people now see it as the gold of the internet. Moving on. So we've talked a bit about Bitcoin, but what is the technology that actually helps run Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin uses something called blockchain technology. Now, for this session, I'm just going to try and simplify it as much as I can. So think about Bitcoin as a network of blocks, a chain of blocks. And within this chain, you have the chain at the very start. This is your first ever transaction. Okay, this is the first ever transaction that has ever happened on the Bitcoin. And then at the end, you have the most latest transaction. Okay, the one that has been done most recently. And in the middle, you have all the transactions that have ever happened in history. Okay, and the Bitcoin network, very simply, is a chain of transactions. And this is Bitcoin's way, and many other cryptos' way of recording transactions. It's all on a chain. So we're going to have just a bit of a deeper look into blockchain. So yeah, I said Bitcoin is a chain of blocks, but what is a block? So a block in the blockchain, in the crypto software, essentially has three main attributes. It has, firstly, data about transactions. Okay. It has a unique fingerprint regarding data within that block, aka the transactions. But it also has data of the previous block on that chain. Okay. Now we're going to go through every single attribute here. So starting with the first one, data about transaction. So like I said, yeah, you have these blocks. Now, every block contains a list of transactions, usually multiple transactions of every transaction that has happened in Bitcoin. So one block will have multiple transactions, could have a few, could have any amount. Okay, so here's an example here. So on the bottom left, you can see Alice has sent Bob 100 coins. Okay, this transaction will be put within a block along with other transactions as well. As you can see within that block, you have other transactions that has happened on the network. Okay. So now you have a block, you have several transactions in there that has happened in the past few minutes, for example. Okay. What is done with this block? Well, essentially a fingerprint is created by combining all these transactions within this block. Okay. So you have these 4 transactions here, and a hash, the fingerprint, is created by combining all of these transactions. And you see it creates a fingerprint, but in essence, what it is just a long string of characters. Now, let's say Bob wasn't, Alice, sorry, I forgot the name. Let's say Alice wasn't meant to send Bob 100, but instead sent 50. This small change would basically end up changing the whole hash. The whole hash will change to something completely different. Okay, it would not look the same. Even though the change was small, you'd have a whole new fingerprint associated with that block. This essentially allows every block within the network to be unique. Okay, no 2 blocks will ever be the same. And it also contains a third piece of information, the data or the hash of the previous block. Okay. Now, because you now have the data of the previous block, it now creates this chain-like structure. And this is where it gets its name from, the blockchain, okay? So we're essentially creating a chain of blocks that are all interconnected. So I'd just like to go on to say, like, why use a chain of blocks? Why a blockchain? Okay. Well, to put it simply, it is tamper-proof. So I'll just quickly go out here and go into Paint.net. Let's say this was to be my blockchain. Okay. Very simple, I know, but just for example's sake, this is my blockchain and all the transactions here are legitimate transactions. Okay. So we'll use, the brush out. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's say we'll just pick on this one here. Now you have your list of transactions. So you have 3 attributes, remember? You have your list of transactions. Okay. And you have your second attribute. Okay. Which is the hash of everything. Okay. Let's just go back to that. Attributes just to, yeah. So you have your data about transactions. So you have the list of transactions. Okay. You have your unique fingerprint regarding data in the block. Okay. So that's basically a hash of all the transactions. And you also have the data of the previous block. Okay. And that block also has data of the previous block. Okay. Now, once again, I'm forming this chain-like structure. Why is this secure? Let's say I wanted to edit this transaction here. So let's say Alice sent Bob 50. I want to change that. I want to make it so Alice has sent Bob 100. Okay. Okay, cool. So I've changed that. Alice has now sent Bob 100, but that wouldn't work. Why wouldn't that work? Well, if I was to change this, then I'd also have to change the hash of this block over here to match up with this one. And I'd also have to change the hash here to match up with this one. Because you have to remember, all blocks on the chain contain information of the block previous. Okay. Now I'd have to change the block for that, and then the block for that, and then the block for that. And now essentially that would take so much computing power to the point in which it'd just be stupid of me to try and change so many blocks. This is although this isn't the main reason why blockchain is so secure, this is one of the main reasons as to why blockchain is so secure. It's because you've just built up so many blocks. Having to change all the previous and all the future blocks would basically mean it'd be impossible. It wouldn't be worth your time because the amount of computing power necessary is impossible. I don't know whether quantum computing will change that. Okay. But at this moment in time, it is basically impossible to hack into the blockchain network and edit information like that, which is why it's so secure. Unless it's a newly developed crypto. Yeah, correct. So funny you say that. At the start of Bitcoin's development, you might know that it was actually hacked many times. And people were essentially trying to do that because the chain was so new. It was very easy to edit all the other blocks. Okay. So yeah, that is a really good point. It is easy to hack into newly developed crypto because there's so little information on the actual blockchain. So yeah, just something to think about. Let's just carry this on. So how does Bitcoin work? How are new Bitcoins created? Sorry. So yeah, we've talked about all that, but how do new Bitcoins come into existence? How are they minted? So basically, new Bitcoins are created through the process of mining. Now, I'll touch on mining in the next slide, but Bitcoins are essentially rewards for miners. Okay, Bitcoin is given out as a reward for the work that miners put in for the Bitcoin network. But like I said, what is mining? Well, put simply, mining is this. So let's say I was to send some Bitcoin to a friend. That transaction, it needs to be verified. Okay. It needs to be verified on the network, because if that transaction doesn't get verified, then the integrity of Bitcoin just goes into the hole and no one can trust it anymore. Your cryptocurrency ends up going to like $1 or 1 cent, sorry, or even less, like 0.00 whatever. So yeah, transactions need to be verified. So miners, what they do is they essentially compete with each other to verify a transaction on the blockchain network. Okay, they'll see quite just a simplified version of it. They'll basically compete to see who's the fastest. Once a miner is successful, they are rewarded that Bitcoin for their work. So they're rewarded a certain amount of Bitcoin as like a way of rewarding them for their computer power. And this is essentially how Bitcoins are minted. Okay. So unlike, for example, the UK government that is able to print theirs at will and whenever they want, it's a lot more different with Bitcoin and many cryptocurrencies out there. So new Bitcoins are created depending on the amount of work done. Okay, so something is done in order to get that Bitcoin. It's not just done at will. So once again, I really briefly touched on that because I don't want to get too in depth on the first session. So I'd just like to go straight on to how to actually make use of this technology today. Okay. So I just got to chat through. When the 21 million are reached, where is the incentive for miners? So that's a very good question. When the 21 million is reached, essentially there won't be any rewards. There won't be any rewards. So essentially how it'll work is miners will be gifted based on transaction fees. So when a miner mines something, not only are they given the reward, but they're given a transaction fee with that. And essentially what will happen is transaction fees will increase and increase and increase and increase to the point in which the miners are happy with the transaction fees. And I don't know if you've noticed, whenever there is a lot of interest in Bitcoin, transaction fees do increase. This is literally because everyone is wanting to grab some Bitcoin and there is only a limited amount of miners. So miners will essentially pick and choose which transactions they'd actually like to verify. This is just, once again, another incentive for miners to actually mine. And when that 21 million is reached, it will just purely be based on transaction fees rather than a reward. Yeah, just to keep the miners going. Good question though. So we'll just move on to wallets now. So, well, wallets, what is a wallet exactly? A crypto wallet is a digital wallet. So it's not a physical wallet. It's able to essentially keep your cryptocurrencies safe. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. Anyone in anyone in the world is able to send you crypto to your wallet, but it also goes two ways. You can send anyone crypto from your wallet, okay? Just like any other bank out there. How would you go around using a wallet? Well, when you make a wallet, whichever wallet, it'll be any wallet, you'll always be given two pieces of information. You'll be given a private key, but also a public key. Basically, when you're given these two pieces of information, your public key is, you could think of it as your sort code or account number. Okay, there is no harm in giving this out and people can send money to you using this public key. Okay. So like I said, like this is essentially your username. Okay. You can give out your public key. And yeah, it doesn't matter if your public key is out there, it's public, it's for everyone to see. However, you're also given a private key. Okay. And think of the private key as the long number on your card. this should be given to absolutely no one, okay? It is your way of accessing your wallet. It is essentially your password, okay? So, like I said, you're given two pieces of information, your public key and your private key. If there's anything you're going to take away from this session today, it's public key you can give anyone, private key is for yourself, all right? So I talked about public keys and private keys, but what does this mean to you? Well, I wouldn't really worry about using your public and private key if you're using an application such as Exodus, because Exodus will do all this hard work for you, okay? You'll need your public key, yes, but your private key, not so much. So Exodus will give you your public key. And this is something that you give to people who want to send crypto to you. But your private key, like I said, don't worry about it. Exodus usually has all that sorted. It's usually when you move on to like hardware wallets where it'd be important to know both your public key and private key. But this is more complicated. And if you're just starting out with like Bitcoin or crypto, I'd recommend to just stay with something like Exodus. If you ever lose your phone or cannot access your wallet, does this mean you lose your crypto forever? Yes. So one of the main problems when it comes to crypto is if I forget my private key or if I've lost my wallet, have I lost everything? Yes, you've essentially lost everything. This might sound like a bad thing, but you once again have to remember that this is one of the things that makes cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin so great. It basically ensures no one other than you can access your account, your wallet, sorry. But this also it is your responsibility to remember that private key. Because if you don't know that private key, then you have no access to your wallet. Okay, so I'll just move on. Okay, so we'll just move on to exchanges. So let's say you're ready to purchase Bitcoin. How would you actually go around purchasing it? So there are many ways to actually purchase Bitcoin. So you could either purchase them off a friend or someone that you know. You could purchase some from an ATM, which are becoming a lot more prevalent nowadays. You actually see them in a lot of city centres. I know they've got one so I'm from Manchester. They've got one in Manchester Central just there, and anyone can just walk up to it and start using it. Personally, I would not recommend you use an ATM for the sole reason that it is literally the most inefficient way and the transaction fees are stupidly high. And yeah, you get less for your money. If there's any way I'd recommend you use an exchange when purchasing crypto, such as Binance, because the transaction fees are way, way, way lower. And you just end up getting more for your money. So exchanges are the best way, or one of the best ways, from what I know, to purchase Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies out there. Crypto is very risky and never invest more than you can afford to lose, as the market trends can be ruthless. Oh yeah, I mean, you know, your crypto that you're really interested in could go from like $20 to like 1 cent at any time. It's possible. It happens. It could, you know, there are scams out there. Like I said, you know, it's your decision. You're the one that has to make the right decision. Do your research. Research is really important, because if you don't do that research and you just go in because or your mate told you that this will go to the moon, for example, I'd take that with a large grain of salt. You know, what is better, Binance or Coinbase? Binance has way more stuff. So it has way more altcoins. I'd recommend Binance, honestly. Yeah, Binance, it gives you many more options, lower transaction fees than Coinbase. Binance is just superior. Yeah, I totally agree with that one. Yeah, Binance all the way for me. Crypto cards. Yeah, I mean, crypto cards are like they allow crypto to become more. Yeah, like it lets more people access crypto. People who wouldn't usually think about using crypto. Like if you can just carry around a card, it'd be a lot more easier as well. NFTs, 100%. NFTs is something that we will actually move on to in the course later on. Really exciting. A lot is going on, especially recently with NFTs. A lot going on. Really exciting. Yeah, 100% something that I would love to talk about. So don't worry, that will be talked about later on in the sessions. Yeah, they've been blowing up like crazy recently, haven't they? Something that I'd love to talk about later on in the sessions. So if you were to use an exchange such as Binance, you'd be greeted with a screen like this, and this can be really overwhelming for some people. And like me, someone who uses Binance, when I first started using this, it was very overwhelming to say the least. Now you've got all sorts of information. Okay, so on the right, you've got your live trades going on. You've got this seemingly random graph that just shows prices and like price fluctuation. You've got you've got information at the bottom, such as like limit, market, stop limits and stuff. And this gives you the chance to actually buy Bitcoin or whatever crypto you're interested in. And you've also got your open orders, order history, blah, blah, blah. You've got quite a vast majority of things in there. It's all there to help you, okay? And like I said, it does look overwhelming, but if you just take the time to just go through everything and just learn it, honestly, like it shouldn't take more than a few days just to get used to like Binance or any other exchange that you decide to use. I know Binance is quite a complicated one compared to something like Coinbase, which is more user-friendly. So once again, personal preference. I won't tell you, for example, to use Binance or to use Coinbase. I would recommend Binance because the transaction fees end up being a whole lot lower. And we're just nearing the end of the session now. So yeah, I listed all these things. So you'll see information such as like live transactions, price graph, section how to buy and sell. It may seem overwhelming. Don't worry. I hope to have a session on Binance going into it in more thorough detail. So anyone who'd like to know about Binance, just hop on one of them sessions with me. I'll just go through it with you. It'll be more of like less of something like this, but more of like, me talking to you and you talking to me. We're all using it at the same time. If you have any questions, just, speak your mind. Yeah. It'll be less me talking and more us doing. Yes. If there's anything that I'd recommend right now, it'd be the Binance Academy. Cheers, Laban, for putting the link there. It's really useful. Okay. It goes into detail on many aspects about crypto. It's something that I've used personally to learn crypto. Everything regarding crypto I've learned myself, and Binance Academy was a good part of that learning. Okay, so if you guys don't have it already and you'd like to learn more, Binance Academy is something that I'd truly recommend you download. Okay, so exchanges like Binance, they try to make it really easy for you. So they have their own crypto wallets on the website where you can store your crypto. I and many people usually advise that you don't keep your crypto inside these online exchanges. Instead, rather than keeping it in these online exchanges such as Binance, as soon as you successfully purchase your Bitcoin or whatever crypto you're willing to purchase, send it directly to your wallet, whether that's an offline wallet such as a hardware wallet or one such as Exodus. They're just naturally way more safer than storing it in Binance, because there have been times where exchanges have just out of the blue just decided they're going to stop operation, and now you don't have your Bitcoin anymore because it was in a Binance wallet that you no longer have access to because Binance doesn't exist anymore. That's just an example. Not trying to like scare or anything, but it's just something to know. Okay, so rather than just having your Bitcoin or crypto saved onto the Binance wallet, just send it straight over to your Exodus wallet using that public key, if you remember. Okay, so once again, you'll use the public key to share that over to your Exodus wallet. Okay, that's everything for today. I know, very, very basic, very simple, but like I said, we'll have later sessions which will delve more deeper into details, such as so here we have a list. So topics such as the blockchain network, we'll learn more about what is the Bitcoin halving. That's something that, we hear all the time. It's one of the reasons for the scarcity. We'll delve more deeper into that. We will have more sessions on how to use exchanges such as Binance, where we'll all be using it at the same time, maybe. That's something that I'd really like to do. That'll be really fun. Learn how to use a wallet such as Exodus. Exodus is very easy to use, actually. But once again, for anyone who's looking for some sort of directions, we'll have a session on it anyway, along with our Binance session. And learn about altcoins. There's many altcoins out there. You have Ethereum, you have Uniswap, you have hundreds and hundreds of altcoins. You have Neo. Okay. These are all things that we'll also slightly touch on, learn about. If you guys have any altcoins you'd like to talk about, please let me know during these sessions. We'll all be learning. We'll all be learning. And that's something that I'd really love to do. And NFTs as well. Can't forget about NFTs. So just going to go through some of the chat right now. Are there going to be trading sessions or just theory? Trading sessions, not so much. It'll just be basically how to use it. So we won't actually teach you, for example, what to invest in. That will be totally up to you. That's not what we're here for. We'd like to give you the tools which will get you ready to use essentially the crypto space. You do what you'd like to do. Okay, at the end of the day, you do the research, you make your own decisions. We'll just be here to give you the tools, discuss, and just have a nice time just talking about crypto stuff. Do we need to pay fees to send crypto to Exodus? Yes, there are fees. Those fees are dependent on the cryptocurrencies that you use. So some cryptocurrencies, they have lower fees. Some cryptocurrencies, I'm not going to name any, but you have to spend more in terms of fees. But like I said, it ends up being worth it because you'd rather spend that fee exchanging from your Binance wallet to your Exodus wallet than losing all your cryptocurrencies. That would be a pain, to say the least. But it does end up being worth it. And the fees, they don't end up being that much anyway. Just make sure that when you're actually sending them fees, don't do it during peak times when everyone is trying to do it. Okay, be smart about when you actually send your stuff. Okay, always send your fees during times when people don't want to. Okay, because then no one is going to. Are you from Brum? Nah, I ain't from Brum, bro. Disclaimer, we're not financial advisors. So we won't basically tell you guys what to invest in. That's not what we're here for. Okay, we're just here to talk. We're here to learn. That's all it is. But that's everything from me. I don't think there's any chats that I've missed out. Sully, if you can maybe see.
Yeah. No, that was great, man. Thank you very much for the presentation, Hassan.
No problem.
That was very, very, very informative. I hope you guys took something away from this session. I highly recommend if you come to any of our events, that you come to the fundamental sessions. These are really important because for us to talk about more things in the future, or even the guest speakers that we'll have in the future, it would help if you had a basic understanding. So please, if you come to any of our events, make sure this is the one at least. I don't know if you guys have any more questions in the chat. Keep them coming if you do. And if you have any more questions, keep them coming. I just want to talk real quickly about first of all, we recorded this session. I wanted to let you guys know we're recording this. So if you or any of your friends, if any of your friends missed out, you can send it to them. We'll email this recording out. And in the future, we want to do these events live and record them at the same time, so everybody has an opportunity to come to these sessions. Because, like I said before, it's very important to come to these. So what I want to do real quick, guys, is I just thank you by the way, for everyone that stayed throughout the whole presentation. That's we really appreciate the patience. These are really helpful sessions, so it's worth it, I believe. So I want to talk about the guest speaker that we'll be having next week. I think you guys are going to be really excited. So the guest speaker we have for next week, Tuesday, the 26th, I believe, is a CEO. His name is Federico Ast. He's an Argentinian-born blockchain and legal tech entrepreneur. He has an economics and philosophy degree from the University of Buenos Aires and a PhD in management from IAE Business School in Argentina. He's the CEO and co-founder of a project known as Kleros. He's going to talk more about the project on Tuesday, but just to give you guys like an oversimplified explanation, Kleros is a decentralized dispute resolution protocol, and it's built on the Ethereum network, like everything is nowadays. And the mission of the protocol is to develop software enabling access to justice and individual freedom. And the protocol actually was the winner of the Blockchain for Social Goods prize from the European Union's Horizon. I think it's called Research and Innovation Program. This was in 2020 they won. I think it's a really cool project. So again, we're going to make some posts to send information about this. This is a serious project. The ICO, I think, was done in 2020. So they're out there now. You can purchase the project itself. This is not a shill, by the way. I'm just saying, like, they are active. They are on some exchanges, and this is a real CEO we have here. So this is a really exciting opportunity for you guys to listen to someone actually working with blockchain technology and actually building potentially a future project, a future protocol that you might find, who knows, maybe on Binance one day. Yeah, I really hope you guys come to Tuesday's session. It's going to be really cool. So that's it from me about the guest speaker that we have next week. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything, or
From me.
Any more. Yeah, if you guys have any more questions, this is your chance. If not, we'll see you next week. Oh, look at the chat. Okay, let me look at the chat. Sorry.
Someone asked what time on Tuesday will that be, Suleiman?
Well, I'm emailing him. I'm currently speaking with Federico. The time hasn't been decided yet, but I'll let you know ASAP as soon as possible. We'll make sure to let you guys know what time. He's obviously a really busy guy, so we'll let you know as soon as possible is the answer. Is this face-to-face or online? This event was online because it best suited Hassan since he's currently not on campus. But we'll try to do is make it live, so face-to-face every event if we can, and we'll also just record them. See if we can record them on Zoom at the same time for other people to come if they can't come face-to-face.
Suleiman, I think he was asking about the event that's happening on Tuesday.
Oh, the event, yeah. No, that will be the event on Tuesday will be on Zoom. I don't think Federico is in the country right now, so yeah, it will be on Zoom. Yeah, did I miss any more questions? I don't think I missed any other questions.
I feel like that's everything.
Yeah. All right. Again, thank you, Hassan, for the presentation. That was great, man. And thank you to everyone that came. And hopefully we see you next week, Tuesday. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Take care.